Hello, hello, hello. I can see, oh, there are people waiting already. Thank you. Yes, we are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Thank you very much for joining us. I can see people already waiting and saying, when are they starting? Okay, we are here now. Thank you, thank you, thank you for always coming over to see what we have for you. Thank you for always joining and always coming back. And thank you if you're a new person joining us for the first time. Hey, please do the right thing by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, doing what will make this program go on well as we have planned. So thank you very much. Oh, I see Sister Tolu Alonge is there. Thank you, Pastor Tolu, for joining in. You are welcome. Please feel free to write your comments, your questions, everything, anything you want to do. Let's make it as interactive as possible. And we have our guest. Actually, he's been waiting for us to start. I'm sure it was born ready, so he's been waiting. And thank you very much, online viewers. Please remember to like, share, view, share the video. Let people join in and hear about a story of how God raised someone from grass to grace, and how not giving up is very beneficial. It will say it all. Anyway, but our guest today, I will just read a few things. Our guest today is a trained business consultant, and he's an associate of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria by examination. He has also carved a niche for himself in the clinical industry, and he's also a trained healthcare professional. So he knows his onions. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to what he's going to be talking about. I don't want to spill the beans yet. So he's happily married, to Morenike Gbagi. I always say Gbagi. I don't know why. But he's married to Morenike Gbagi, and together they have a son. They have a son called Gabriel. So he has a lot to tell us about himself, but I would like him to introduce himself by himself. So, without further ado, oh, I see someone here saying, I'm so excited to watch and hear the guests. Whoa, we are all excited and waiting. Thank you very much, Mr. Akinshola. Akinshola. Wow, Akinshola squared. Wonderful. Okay, I call on the screen the person we have been waiting for, and that is Mr. Gbagi. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bumi. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you please introduce yourself better than I would ever do?
Oh, okay. Well, I think you've said quite a lot. I'm impressed you remembered all that.
Ah,
That's really good. So, like Dr. Bumi said, my name is Okiemute Gbagi. Most people call me Mute for short because we don't want people to bite their tongues out when they are trying to call the full name. Like she said, I'm a trained insurance professional, and I became a chartered insurer in 2011. And of course, as this program goes, you'd get to understand how I moved from insurance into healthcare, although still doing insurance. But of course, I moved into healthcare due to the experience I had, which I will share as we go along.
wow.
Like Dr. Abel said, I'm married with a son. That's another part of the story, which of course will unfold later, and we'll talk about that as well. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much for making time out, to be here and to share your experience, because we are all about awareness, creating awareness,
Yeah.
inspiring others through what we do, because we know everything that happens to us has a purpose, and God makes it that way just to give him all the glory. But anyway, let me not spill the beans. I'm just so much in a hurry to say, well, you're going to hear from him. Okay, now, can you please give us a brief overview of your book, A Decade of Storm? That's it on there on Amazon. And what inspired you to write it? I'll take myself off the screen so people can actually get a closer view of who you are.
Thank you very much. Yes. So, A Decade of Storm is about a challenging time I had in my life with respect to my health. And this book gives an overview of what I went through and how God saw me through the storm. And of course, that's why I've tagged it A Decade of Storm. And I got the inspiration to write this book due to the process God took me through it was a surreal process. It was something that, I mean, it was mind blowing, well, to me. And I felt, how do I get this out there to people? And I said, okay, why not write a book? You have a book which has a hard copy. It's also can be read online. And I felt, okay, yeah, that would um, move quickly into the population so that people can have a feel and get a touch and have an understanding of what God took me through with respect to my health. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for saying that. So it's about someone who is in the healthcare profession, also talking about health. So you know he knows what he's talking about. Now, our next question, please, viewers, if you've got any questions, please go ahead and write on there. Let us hear from you. If you've got questions, comments, I can see Shay Campbell. It says great. Yes, thank you very much for joining us. Yep. So the next question is um a decade of storm. We all know a decade is like 10 years. It
Yeah.
covers, events for a particular decade. What made you choose this specific time frame, and what significance does it hold in your narrative?
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Bumi. So the reason why I picked this particular decade or that particular decade was due to the fact that a string of events occurred,
Hmm.
of which my health is just one of them. And of course, I'm spilling the beans now. There's going to be a sequel, there's going to be a part two,
Wow.
which will also showcase the other storms or the other challenges which my family and I went through. So I picked that particular decade because all of this happened in that decade, and I chose that time frame for the same reason, of course. And the significance it holds is that due to the fact that all of this happened within that time frame, it's of course brought out what God did and how God
Hmm.
went about sorting that storm out. The significance, of course, itself is the storm
Hmm.
and how God, of course, took us through that storm. And of course, if you have an idea of what a storm is, a blizzard, and there's
Hmm.
so much wind, there's so much dust, you're unable to navigate. But God helped us navigate through that storm in order for us to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Great. Great. Thank you very much. So, thank you. Denzel Oppington says, great. I can't wait. I cannot wait to read this book. Please do. Please do. It's on. Let me bring up the book. It's on Amazon. Okay, I think I was talking. I didn't realize I was I was not um on screen. So yes, like I said, please, that's the book there in front of you. Buy the book, rate the book, write a comment, review it, and let others know what you think about it. And let him know as well. Good feedback, would help him develop further. All right. Whilst I bring you back on the screen, I'd like to ask the next question. Please, viewers, if you've got any questions for our guest today, please type it out and we will show it on the screen. Now, our next question is, could you share a memorable moment or story from your book that you believe encapsulates the essence of that storm? Because many people are being curious now, what exactly was that storm? So, could you throw more light? Thank you.
Okay, yes. So that storm was a battle I had with cancer.
Hmm.
That particular one was a battle I had with cancer. And um, the beauty of, well, I'm using beauty with cancer, but that's how I've approached this topic right from when I was diagnosed. I'd always
Hmm.
approached it with a positive mind. And a memorable moment from my book was when I got this should I call it revelation from
Mm.
God with respect to how to go about handling the fact that I had been diagnosed with cancer. And one of the things I did was when I told people about it, when they asked me, "Oh, what's wrong? What did they find out?" And I would joyfully tell them that I had cancer. And some of them thought, "Are you losing it? How can you be happy when you're talking about the fact that you've been diagnosed with cancer?" And interestingly, 2 years before I was diagnosed, I had been moved from hospital to hospital, and they couldn't find out what was wrong. So in my head, when I actually got diagnosed, I was actually happy that, oh yes, they
Mm.
actually know what it is they need to attack or what it is they need to treat. And with each passing phase, when I got diagnosed, when I started receiving treatment, and even the aftermath, I handled everything positively. And I'm sure with as time goes on, I'll share some of this um, positive feedback with
Mm.
respect to how I handled the treatment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to Odu12001. Says great work. Thank you. That's what we want to hear. And then there is another comment from Aledu Osas Antonia says, great joy. Great joy. So we know, we all know that when the word cancer is mentioned, it's like a death sentence already.
Yeah,
Oh, how many, some people might even go as far as asking, so how many days do they say you have
I
left
have
to live
left.
and all that?
Yes,
So I know it could be very unsettling and well, how you were able to pull through, I'm sure we can read it from the book.
yeah,
But I would like to ask, what do you hope readers will take away from reading A Decade of Storm?
yeah. So what I hope readers will take away is the fact that God is in the storm with you.
Hmm.
Now, for the fact that you are in a storm and you are seeing, just like I described earlier, there's so much wind, there's dust, there's a blizzard, for instance. I mean, you can't clearly see where you're going to. But the fact is that God is in that storm with you. And one of the things which I try to showcase in the book is for people to understand that though it looks like the end, though it looks like all the chips are down,
Hmm.
God is actually in there with you.
Wow.
He's navigating with you. He's helping you go through that storm so that at the end of the day, your head is above water.
Wow.
That's what I
Wonderful.
hope readers will take away. No matter what you're
Yes.
going through, God is God. He's there.
Hmm.
He's in that storm with you, and he's navigating with you to the
Wow.
very end.
Great. Great. Thank you very much. So that shows there is hope in a hopeless
Yeah.
situation. Hope
Yeah.
in a hopeless situation. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm so glad that there's so many people joining us online and saying, "Oh, great job, great work." Let's complete it with buying that book and actually typing in there. It could be the virtual. Is it the Kindle? I think there are two editions of it.
There's
Uh,
a Kindle
let's
version as
see.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, let me bring it up. Let me take myself off the so I can see more clearly. So there is oh I just can't see. Okay. All right, I can see from here. So A Decade of Storm has got paperback and it's got Kindle edition. So whichever one you wanna, you know, go for, I'm sure there will be an audio book at some point, wouldn't there? Well, I've taken you out of the screen. I'll bring you back in. Well, there's a Kindle edition. There's a paperback. Please go on there and support this vision. So, like I was saying, there's going to be an audiobook at some point, won't there?
Yeah. Well, hopefully. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I think most people are going audiobook now. You can
Yeah.
read a whole book in 20 minutes. Yeah. Well, so yeah, thank you very much. I think that's a good thing after how did they say it? After sliced bread. Audiobook is for the lazy ones like us. Anyway, so thank you very much, Odu2120001 for joining. Thank you, Aledu Osas for joining. Thank you. This yes, and who else? Yeah, there's another thank you to Tolu Alunga. Thank you for putting your life on paper for others to learn. Yes, so she's waving, she's saying that thank you. And another comment here says, Kenny Shudande, the revelation from God, and then Afolake Buki says great job. All right. So we've just listened to what is expected from the book is to give hope to the
Okay.
hopeless,
Yeah.
and is not a death sentence. If God sees, God can see anyone. If God has seen him through, God can see anyone through. So I'm glad that it's going to be a book to encourage others. Now, how did your own experience or background shape the writing of The Decade of Storm?
Okay. Yes. So my experience and background. Um, my background is my core is marketing, for instance. I would say that, and my training, my background, the experience which I ever had was observation. And just to give you a little pep of how I used to operate when I was or in the insurance industry as a marketer,
Hmm.
we're trained to observe. And most times when I sit in front of a customer, for instance, I'm able to tell if that customer is going to buy from me. So most times I'm listening to what the customer is not saying rather than what he or she is saying. So I'm able to tell, oh, this guy's not, or this lady's not going to buy, and all that. So the experience which I had, observation, taught me how to relate with the disease itself, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. So I was able to observe the different stages in my head psychologically on how the process was going. And I'll give you an example. When I was diagnosed and I was told, man, you have cancer. Okay. So I sat down and thought about it. And immediately doctors came around, the nurses came around, sad faces. Oh, they're so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mute, blah, blah, blah. And I just nodded. I said, thank you very much, and all that. So when they left, immediately something clicked in my head. I don't have to be sad about this. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what happened. I'm not making it up or trying to cook up stories here. In my head, I was like, I don't have to be sad about this. So I decided I'll be positive
Hmm.
no matter what. So when my friends called me, oh, Mute, what was diagnosed? I'll just go, they said it's cancer. Can you imagine? Like it was something I wasn't bothered about. And I remember one of my friends was like, why are you laughing? This is serious. And I said, would you prefer that I cried?
Hmm.
And she thought about it for a while and said, are you actually right? Because if I cried, I mean, what was that going to do? How was that going to benefit me in any way? So after that, and of course, all this is indicated in the book.
Yeah.
After that, when I started receiving treatment, I ensured that when going for treatment, I looked my best. I dressed well. I went with my laptop with movies downloaded. So all through the process, whilst the injection was in my arm and they were passing the chemicals through the chemotherapy, I was watching comedies on my laptop, laughing. And nurses were coming around and looking at me and this guy, is he okay? I was okay, but I was fighting the disease in
Hmm.
my head. And in contrast, you would see others because of course when the NHS took you into a room to give you treatment, it should be a big room with different other patients also receiving
Hmm.
the same treatment, and you see them, they would come with their other loved ones, maybe husband has been diagnosed, he comes with the wife, or brother comes with the sister and all that, or best friends come with their friends and they're holding their hands and looking at them so sadly like, oh, is this the end, and all that. And I made up my mind nobody was going to go with me. I was going to go in alone. I was going to face it alone and all that because I didn't want anyone sitting beside me and looking sad
Hmm.
and kind of indicating or telling me that, oh, this is it. So I didn't want all that. And it's one of the ways in which I also fought. Yeah, yeah,
Coped with.
yeah. So I'll stop there so I don't talk too much.
Yes,
The
yes,
other
yes. Yes, we all have our ways of coping, coping mechanisms. So the various ways, and it's nice to see that you turn the negative thing into positive. And I think it all started from the mind, the mindset that God is going to pull me through this. Yes, others may have like Bible says, others may say there's a casting down, but I would say there's a lifting
the
up.
lifting up. Yeah.
So encouraging ourselves, like David had to encourage himself in the Lord.
Oh, yeah.
If no, even though when there was no one else around to, there will be some, of course, quiet moments when you're on your pillow yourself by yourself. There'll
Yeah.
be some quiet moments you reflect on it, but then you fought through in your mind first before. So I'm so glad to hear that it's all in the past now, and you have a story to tell about it. So it's changed your, how do they say this? Your story to glory. Yes.
Glory. Yeah.
Yes, story to glory. So, because of our time, I'll just say very quick thank you to those who are online. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for writing your comments, encouraging our guest today, Okiemute. He has taught me how to pronounce it, but I still can't get it, even though my husband is also Robo. Okiemute Gbagi. Gbagi. Is it?
Gbagi.
Gbagi. Hey, God help me. Anyway, I'm sure your wife would be like, why can't she get this right? Anyway, never mind. I could see a Yetine Gbagi there. Is that Mrs.?
Yeah. Should be.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining and supporting. I can imagine what this will be as a family, but I am glad that you have a story to tell. I am glad. Thank God for your family. Thank God for your family. And another thing I would like to ask, because I'm sure so many people have gone through things in their lives and they're like, oh, I can't bear to write it in a book. I don't know what to do. I don't know what process to take. So what would you advise someone who is aspiring to write, um, you know, who want to embark on their own journey to write and publish a book that will inspire others like your book? What is your first advice to them? Just one of it, and then they can contact you on Amazon to ask you more questions. But just one, just give one tip.
I'll say don't back down. I'll say because when I started the book, there are quite a lot of challenges and all that. So never back down. The enemy would try his best to put you down, to try and dissuade you, but don't ever back down, no matter what challenges you see. One of the challenges I faced, I'll be honest, is procrastination. I would want to write the chapter. I'll decide, oh, I'm going to write this chapter this week, or I'm going to write this chapter within a time frame, and I wouldn't hit that time frame. And after I was able to beat procrastination, then financial challenges came in order to publish the book as well, and all that. So, but don't ever give up. Just keep going, and eventually you would um, get to the finish line.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yes. So that is the book again. Please have a look at on have a look online on Amazon. Just type because I had to type it as well. A Decade of Storm. If you can put the name Okiemute Gbagi.
Gbagi.
I'm getting it. Gbagi. And please just um you can buy the Kindle edition or the paperback, but please, 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 and please write a comment, because that comment and that review you write there would actually encourage someone else to want to buy it and be blessed by it. So let's not deprive others the opportunity to read about hope in a hopeless situation. There is always hope, and I'm sure hearing from someone who's gone through it, who has been given a death sentence, gone through it with a positive mindset, came out on the other side, is the right person to encourage our world today. So thank you very much for writing that, for taking that courage. I'm sure it must have taken a bit of your time and effort and so many resources, and you can name it, because I'm also an author. I've written books too, and I know sometimes it could be draining, but
Yeah.
I'm glad it came out in the end. So now, I'd like to thank those who are online. Chichi Okafor says, well done, bros. Akinshala says, I rejoice with you and glad that today you are here to share with us your travails and how you overcame. Gbagi says, thank you. Oh, thank you. I thought it was to you. All right, thank you, thank you very much for your supportive role. We can see it's written. I'm sure we'll be able to see it written all over the book, if
Yeah.
nothing else. Thank you. Another comment here says, my God, I envy your faith. Mr. Kenny Shudinde or Miss Kenny. Sorry, I just always have to put titles. I don't know why. But Kenny Shudende, Mr. Omi says, thank you for saying that. It says in my God, I envy your faith. Deyinka Okude says, glory be to God for giving you a great testimony at this. Yes. And if you know that not everyone who gets a testimony out of it writes it in a book,
Yeah.
they just say, well, God has done it for me. I'm okay with that. But it could be a seed in the life of other people.
Yeah.
Someone somewhere needs to read that book and develop their own faith too, and get courage that, with God all things are possible. Like the popular slogan, what God cannot do does not exist. Yeah. Shay Campbell, great testimony. The Lord is faithful. There's one more question, but I'm just looking at our time. But I need to read all the comments and appreciating as many that gave their time up just to be here to listen and to comment and to make it as interactive as possible. You are very important to us. Thank you very much for viewing, for sharing, for commenting, and even for subscribing to hear more from this channel. Aledu Osas Antonia says, thank you for sharing with us, sir, and teaching us not to give in to negativity. Yes, not giving into negativity. Rachel Owolabi says, this is beautiful. We bless God for your testimony. Same as Alalade Sunday says, God is faithful. He can do all things. Yes, he can do all things. So thank you very much, viewers, for joining in. Finally, I will ask, where can viewers find your book? And do you have any upcoming projects or events? I know you've mentioned them all, but it's fine to reinstate it, to reiterate and emphasize on it. Where can viewers find your book? How do you have any upcoming projects or events related to your work that you'd like to share with our audience? And we'll call it a day. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. So, like Dr. Abel has indicated, the book is available on Amazon. You can get the paperback or the Kindle version, as it's being shown on the screen now. Like I also spilled the beans a bit earlier. A decade is 10 years, isn't it? Yeah. So the cancer was just part of one of the things we as a family went through in that decade. So there is going to be a sequel, and I'm glad this question has come up because it will motivate me, because I don't like disappointing people. So it will motivate me to go into that second sequel. I have started it in my head, of course. So there is going to be a second sequel showcasing other challenges which we went through as a family. And yeah, that's what I would say with respect to the upcoming events. I don't want to give too much away. So, yeah.
So watch this space, like they say. Watch out for part 2. And with part 1, let us go buy the book, write our comments, review, because I noticed that there's something people will buy things and then they won't review. I don't know why. Review it and let other people, because once you review it, the algorithm of Amazon will say, oh, people are interested in this book,
This book.
let's share it wider, let's make it, so you will be evangelizing
Yeah.
the power of God, to other people in different parts of the world. When you review, please do. And it would help to promote the hope in the hopeless society.
Yeah.
Holder Uwam says, thank you for putting in your testimony in writing. And Fumi Okude says, God is good. He is true to his name and power. I rejoice with you again and again. So, yes, thank you all for joining in. We've come to the end of the program. Oh, one more comment. Ezekiel Labesa says, I never knew you were going through this. For God is faithful that you have made it. You see, no, they'll see you know, as fresh, they'll say as fresh as a gege bread. As you know, they wouldn't know what, like there's a song that says, um you don't look like what you've been through,
Yeah.
that is exactly, what you are. You don't look like what you've been through, and we're grateful that you have, the testimony to give. So also Mrs. Yetunde Gbagi, thank you very much for, staying side by side to bring
Yeah.
this testimony to reality.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thanks to Gabriel as well for holding on and a decade. That's a lot. But hey, read more in the book and you will find all the answers to your questions there. Thank you very much, everyone. And do you have any final words to say before we call it a day?
Yeah, just to thank everyone who has joined. I appreciate all of you. Special thanks to my wife. Just like you said, very supportive during that period. Because really, we've heard of wives who abandon when things become really tough. But
Hmm.
she stood by me, and yeah, so it's worthy to mention that.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone who has joined. Hopefully we'll have more time to talk about this. Maybe perhaps Dr. Abel will invite me for another session in the future and all that. So thank you so much once again, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, thank you, and we'll speak again later. So, we've had it all. We've seen it all from our guest today. And someone says, I tap into this testimony. Actually, I would have said, if you pray for you, I tap into this testimony thanks to your supporting wife. Thank you. All right. So yes, that is life. Life happens, but how we deal with it matters a lot. So thank you very much to Mr. Gbagi for sharing his testimony. Yes, we would definitely like to have you for the sequel to this, and it would be nice to have you on the show to encourage people the more, because there are many people who need to hear this. So please, like I said, go on the platform, go on Amazon, get the book A Decade of Storm, and let it bless you. If you're not buying it for yourself, buy for someone else, or even buy for yourself, read it and pass it on to someone else. That is all. That would really help to share the message of hope to people, because that is what the book is all about. Thank you very much for joining in. And if you've got great stories to share to encourage the viewers out there, please let me know and I'll be glad to hear you. My name is Olubumi Abel. Join us on WhatsApp, on YouTube. You can subscribe, send me a message, and I'll get it from there. Thank you very much, and have a good evening. If you're in the evening or the morning or the afternoon, have a good day.